I am Luke Field, Sissonville Middle School Student Body President. Thank you for tuning into our Veterans Day broadcast. What is a veteran? A veteran, whether active duty, discharged, retired, or reserved, is someone who at one point in his or her life wrote a blank check made payable to the United States of America for an amount of up to and including his or her life. On behalf of the students and staff of Sissonville Middle School, I'd like to welcome each of you to our annual Veterans Day Assembly and Recognition.
All the veterans, young and old, we have a message to be told. Thank you for fighting for our country to have freedom. We always want to remember the important people, the ones who sacrificed their lives for us. I want to say thank you. We will never let you go. Grandpas, grandmas, parents, and all, we are talking about you. We'll never forget you. We'll never leave you. This is a day of remembering you. So thank you.
America's heroes do not wear a cape. They cannot fly or come down from the sky. America's heroes stay on the ground. They fight for what's right. They don't sit around and let their country suffer. They keep their head high and fight for what's right. America's heroes fight for the red, white, and blue, and they fight for you too. I hope that this Veterans Day you will thank our heroes for all they do and tell them their sacrifice was true.
On this day, we honor all veterans, departed, scarred, or homeless. Wherever you are, we remember and thank you. For your willing, unselfish, loving selves, we comfort you through your pain, although we may never understand your scars, your loss, or your agonizing memories. America endures everything you laid down for us to be free. You hold a strong, caring spirit that will never be forgotten. God truly blessed America with your willingness. On this Veterans Day, we lift up your memory and honor the fallen. On this day, we thank you for battling for our freedoms. We thank you for your service.
Do you remember the ones who fought, who helped America when it was distraught? The crimson they left on fields of grass, all so we could be free at last. Their lives on the line for this glorious land, the peace that allows us to live hand in hand. Yet not much a mention, but one day a year. And when that day is done, the thanks disappear. Show veterans who fought for you that you're thankful for their service and commitment too. Not just on Veterans Day, but every day of your life, because the veterans are the ones who make it one free from strife.
For the freedom
Flanders Fields is a poem written during the First World War by a Canadian officer, Lieutenant Colonel John McCrae. He was inspired to write it after presiding over the funeral of his friend and fellow soldier Alexis Helmer. It references to the red poppies that grew over the graves of fallen soldiers, resulted in the poppy becoming one of the most recognized symbols for soldiers who have died in conflict.
In Flanders Fields the poppies blow, between the crosses row on row, that mark our place in the sky, the larks still bravely singing fly, scarce heard amid the guns below, we are the dead short days ago. We lived, felt dawn, saw sunset glow, loved and were loved, and now we lie in Flanders Fields. Take up our quarrel with the foe, to you from falling hands we throw. The torch be yours to hold it high, if ye break faith with us who die. We shall not sleep though poppies grow in Flanders Fields.
It's a great honor to be asked to speak at such a wonderful event. As many of you already know, I was the principal at this great institution in the recent past, and I was always impressed with this celebration. And before I was a principal, I would attend this event as a guest. And it's hard to explain the feeling of pride I have to sit among not only my brothers and sisters in arms, but my fellow community members. In our youth, many of us who served did not realize the effect of our service until we got a little age on us. Personally, I joined the United States Marine Corps for the adventure, a life that was experienced by only a select few. However, the price of liberty is not without sacrifice. As I matured, I began to realize the real cost of freedom, and the cost is high. As a young Marine, I thought I was a man, and indeed, in many ways I was. But as time has a way of putting things in perspective, at 44, I now see our youth carrying the heavy burden to protecting liberty and securing our way of life. A way of life we should never feel obligated to apologize for. A way of life in which we work to improve generation after generation. The young men and women that we depend on to carry this heavy burden do so with discipline, tact, and honor. Regardless of the political games our elected leaders play, our troops stand ready to defend and take the fight to the enemy in any climate and any place and any region. Make no mistake about it, the job of our military is honorable, and it is to prepare the best warfighters on the planet. Throughout modern history, our service members have met tyranny face to face around the globe. When Europe was burning and tyrants attempted to install a fascist regime, we stood with our resolve intact and victory in mind. When the fight was taken to the high seas in the Pacific, we flexed our might in the air and our strategic ways of thinking, relying heavily upon our code-talking Native American brothers and sisters to defeat the enemy. With the threat of nuclear annihilation, we stood strong against the communists and socialists that threatened our policies, our way of life, and would institute their policies of starvation and stagnation. We stood in the mountains of Korea, and we stood in the jungles of Vietnam. When dictators and oppressors threatened the world's energy supplies, killed their own people, and would subjugate all people to a perverse interpretation of a sacred religion, we met the challenge in the barren mountains and the scorched deserts of the Middle East. Let us not forget all those that paid the ultimate price. But also, let's take time to acknowledge that all the sacrifices made. Youth is a precious time in our life. So to make the choice to serve this great nation and give our youth for the protection of others is a tremendous sacrifice. Time lost with family and friends can never be recovered. So when we celebrate Veterans Day, take a minute to truly reflect on sacrifice. Truly consider freedom and liberty, and truly ask yourself, is it under attack, and if so, from where? In closing, I want to thank warfighters of all ages. I would like to remind the world that our oath to defend the Constitution and our way of life did not end with military service, but it will end with life. Thank you, and God bless.